Hi, welcome to my video on adding integers with different signs. Just to let you know, I have a website, talkinghandsmath.com. If you visit the website, you can download and print this takeaway right here. And you can follow along, take the notes. Link is in the description to download and print. Okay, let's get started. So, we have adding integers. Now, first off, you might be wondering, hopefully you're wondering this, what is an integer? Well, the integers are all of these numbers here. All of what you see here are integers. And that's just a small list of them. Officially, an integer is, so integers, they are known as the whole numbers and their opposites. So the whole numbers are really just these numbers here, and the opposites of these whole numbers are on this side, the negative side. So we have these expressions, and the whole idea of this lesson is to figure out, well, how do you add these integers, this -3 and the +5? And we can look at this on a number line where this number right here, the -3, that's our starting point. That's where we begin as we're traveling on the number line. So if I have -3, if I put a little person on -3 right here, a little stick figure, and I'm facing the positive numbers. So the positive numbers are this direction here. So I would face the positive numbers. Okay. And this right here, this 5, is saying I need to move forwards 5 spaces. So pretty simple. I just move forward 5 spaces. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And the answer's right there. The answer is 2. Positive 2. And there you go. Time and time again, that's what you do. We have our starting point. We have our starting point at 4. And so I'll draw my little stick figure at 4. And I'm facing, right here, this is saying that I have to face the positives. Now I'm in the positives, but I have to face the larger positives maybe right there. So I will face those numbers, and this right here, this -2 now. So this is the operation of addition. This is the sign. And that sign is going to tell us that we need to go backwards. So that's why I have this right here. Forwards if this is positive, but backwards if this is negative. So we move backwards. And if we move backwards 2 spaces, 1, 2, we arrive at 2 again. So the answer is 2. And this one here, as we have our starting point at 1, and we have to face the positives, okay, because that's what this is saying. So we start at 1, we face the positives, which is over here. That's why this is facing this way, but we have to go backwards 5 spaces. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And our answer is -4. So what do you notice here? Well, what we could do is we can generalize this rule. What has happened in each of these 3 cases? If we look here, we got 2. Now 5 minus 3 is 2. See that? What I could have done right here is I could rewrite this. So -3 plus 5 is the same thing as 5 minus 3. I could have switched those around because the answer to both of those is +2. For the second one, I could have just written this as 4 minus 2. And for this last one, what we could see is 5 minus 1 is 4. So we at least have, while the answer is -4, we at least have that same number. It's the sign, though, that sometimes it's positive, sometimes it's negative. So what I suggest as a general rule, now I'm just going to put this in general layman's terms here. I'm not going to have the official language for it. But as a general rule, we would see that we subtract the numbers, then keep the sign. Oops. Sign of the bigger, I'll put it in quotes, the bigger number. So if in each case we subtract them and then we keep the sign of the bigger number, let's see how that works here. So if I subtract these two, 5 minus 1 is 4, but keep the sign of since 5 is bigger, keep the sign of that, there's the sign of the answer. If I subtract these two here, yes, 4 is bigger than 2, so I keep the sign of the 4, which was positive. And with this one here, I subtract them. 5 minus 3 is 2. Since 5 is bigger than 3, I keep the sign of the 5, which is positive. See, and the reason why I put this in quotes as bigger is because here, while the number 5 is bigger than 1, negative 5 is not bigger than 1. Negative 5 is down here, and positive 1 is here. And the bigger numbers are to the right on a number line. So I just say bigger because I'm really just looking at that number right there, not the sign in front with it. Okay, let's put this into further practice here. And if I look at this here, the signs are different. I'm going to subtract these, and I'm going to keep the sign of the bigger number. I already know the sign of the answer is negative. Now I'm going to subtract them. And I might just subtract them this way. And 5 minus 1 is 4, and 2 minus 1 is 1. And so the answer is negative 14. Okay. Now this one. I am, let's see. The signs are different right here. I'm going to take a look. 40 is bigger than 25, and 40 is positive because there's no negative right in front of 40 right there. So the answer is going to be positive. But if the answer is positive, I'll just keep it positive right now. I know now that I have to subtract these two numbers. So 40 is going to go on top and 25 is going to go on bottom. 10 minus 5 is 5. I had to borrow one there. 3 minus 2 is 1. And so it's positive 15. Or you don't need to write the positive. You can just write 15. Okay. I have this here. So what we have is we have 3 numbers now. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put these two together. Now, negative 12 and positive 2, they're different signs, so I have to subtract them. Since 12 is bigger than 2, I'm going to keep the sign of the 12, which is negative. So I'm just going to do this right here. When I combine these, I know it's going to be negative because 12 is bigger than 2 and 12 is negative. And then I subtract them. 12 minus 2 is 10. So when I combine those two, I get negative 10. And then I add 6 to this. Now, they're opposite signs, so I have to subtract them. And when I subtract them, I get 10 minus 6 is 4. And since 10 is bigger than 6, I have to keep the sign of the 10, which is negative, so that's going to be negative 4. Okay, let's take a look at some word problems for this. See how they work out. Okay, a football team is having a fundraiser. Cool. They spent $25 on supplies. They earned $170 during the event. The team's profit is the amount the team kept after paying for supplies. What's the team's profit? Write an expression to describe the situation. So we're going to start with the expression here. They spent $25. When you spend money, that's known as a negative. Negative 25. Okay, so spent 25, that's negative 25. And then they earned $170. Well, when you earn money, that's the opposite of spending. So that means you're going to add $170. Okay, so they're different signs. This is negative, this is positive, and since I'm adding with different signs, we have to subtract these. So I'm going to write 170 on top and 25 on bottom because the smaller number needs to go on bottom when you're subtracting. And this is 10, which makes 6. That's 5. 6 minus 2 is 4. 145. So when I combine these two, I have 145. And I have to pay attention now. This is negative. This is positive. 170 is bigger than 25, so the answer is going to be positive. And since it's positive, I don't have to write a positive. I can just say, hey, so they will have $145 in profit. That means they get to keep that after the expenses. And this, write an expression. This right here is our expression. Okay. So we have another one here. The sum of two integers is 9. Give two possible integers that fit the description. Now, what is good to remember is sum means to add, just in case you weren't sure. So the sum of two integers is 9. Okay, so think about two numbers that would arrive at 9 if you added them together. We could start with 2. We could start with 2. So I could say 2. And so if you have 2, 2 plus 7, right? Because it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 2 plus 7 equals 9. There's one of them. But we have to give two possible. I'll give you two different situations here. I'll go off on the other side, and I'll say negative 1 plus 10. So if let's see, let me erase this here. And if I have negative 1 plus 10, well, negative 1 is negative 1 right here, and then plus 10. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Arrives at 9 anyway. So there you go. Okay, finally, Henry's playing a board game with some friends. On one turn, he lost 25 points. So when you lose points, that's negative. So negative 25. On the next one, he lost 20. So if you add to that another negative 20, I'll put that in parentheses to separate the addition sign from the negative. And then on the last one, he lost 15 points. And he lost 15 points. So what's the total number of points? We have to add all these up. So these are all the same sign. So what we could do is we could take the 25 and the 20 and the 15, add them up. Add them up all of them up for now. So this is 10, this is 4, 5, 6. So all together, the total sum of points that he lost is 60. So he lost 60 points in total. And what was the total change? The change was negative 60 points. And so there you go. That's what you got to know about these adding integers. Same sign, different sign, focusing mostly on different signs. And so I hope that this has been helpful for you and you have a better understanding of adding integers. Thanks for watching. And be sure to check out my other videos on other math topics where you can download. And be sure to subscribe and be sure to check out my other videos where I have other topics and other takeaways that you can take with you so you can use this in your class. Thanks for watching.